pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I believe that's the loudest I've ever heard the pledge. Roll call, please.
All right, Poland. Hofstadter.
Here.
Shoemaker.
Here.
Khan.
Here.
Coffee. Here. Vaughn.
Here.
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. Do we have any visitors that wish to address council this evening?
I'd like to reserve the right to, if I want to ask a question after I listen to them.
That's fine. If you do, just please step to the mic. Do you have a motion to suspend the reading of the minutes?
Second.
Poland. Hofstadter.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Coffee. Aye. And Vaughn.
Aye.
Any additions or corrections? Do you have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second. Khan.
Coffee. Aye. Khan.
Aye.
Poland. Hofstadter.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Thank you. Bill Resolution 2023-23. Are there any questions on the bills this evening?
I actually have an addition there. Just as I published this, I discovered one that needed to be paid to avoid a late charge. So I added $660.93 for a Tractor Supply Company bill. So that makes the total bill resolution for this time $186,129.45.
Thank you. Any other questions? Do you have a motion to pay the bills?
I so move. Shoemaker.
Second.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Poland. Hofstadter.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Coffee. Aye.
Thank you. Chief?
Dustin Badisher, 6-month probation ended last Friday, the 22nd of September. So I'd like to ask council to remove him from probation.
I'll make a motion.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
Poland. Shoemaker.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Coffee. Aye. And Vaughn.
The only other thing is the Transport for Christ, like everybody knows, they made it through town. Have a couple of little things we'll probably change next year if it comes back through town, but other than that, I think it went fine. Like I said, a couple little bottlenecks with traffic, but no major issues. That's all I have.
Thank you. Nate?
All right, the Planning and Zoning Commission is going to meet next Wednesday for another tiny home variance request on Critchfield Street. I believe this is the smallest we've had to date. It's like 304 square feet is the proposal. Design review ordinance and the guideline revisions we've been working on. We received updated pictures and descriptions of the architectural styles to go with those photographs, as well as a color palette that we're looking at including in the guidelines. Get that all formatted and added in, and I'm hoping by the next meeting to have that out to you guys and the design review board to start reviewing. Our storm sewer project, they did get the drop manhole installed, and we're able to work further east, waiting on the remaining structures to show up so they can hopefully button that up. So after a lot of delay, it seems to be moving again and much better than it was before.
Can Grant and the trail be paved at this point?
There's some more restoration work to do around the trail, but they're not too far off from being able to pave those yet.
Okay, thank you.
On the Appalachian Community Grant, I didn't have any update for you, but I did get one today, actually later this afternoon. We were asked if there's any interest in a shared use trail from town out to Harvest Ridge. That could be included in the grant application. Basically what they're proposing is a 10-foot shared bike ped path along 39. Like I said, from here to the fairgrounds. There'd be additional there would be maintenance requirements that would come on to us, the portions that are in town, we'd be responsible for the maintenance of. ODOT would be responsible for the remainder of it, those portions that aren't in town. And it's, as we've talked about with the speed study, it's in and out as you go out west where the corporation limits are, so I don't have an exact footage for you. My personal thought, if you want my personal opinion, I'll give it to you. I think it's a lot of investment. I'm not sure how much it would get used. I think I know it'd be very expensive to do. So you'd have to have retaining walls in a lot of it because of the slope to get your 10-foot wide path with separation from the travel lane of State Route 39. And I don't know how much it'll actually get used for that big of an investment. That's just my personal opinion though.
North or south side?
I don't know at this point.
What is a guesstimate investment?
I could tell you a rough, let me look at that real quick.
Because right now, most events are held out there, like the hardwood furniture guild show and that. I believe a lot of that's done by shuttle bus now, correct?
There is usually, for the bigger ones, they do have some shuttles set up.
And at the trail auction, we utilized Palmer Hospital's supplies transport for, we set up a place for them to park their buggies at the trail and then they're bussed out from there for that.
It's well over $1 million.
Oh my.
Well, and you might get a few people that would walk out during the fair, but that's
That's
a very limited use
Yeah.
for,
That was my concern with it.
For $1 million, that's,
but that's total
Expensive.
project. I mean, estimate
No,
for-
that's
oh,
just the
our
shared
share?
use. That's the installation of the path.
Okay, but we don't know what our share would be.
This would be on the grant application.
Okay.
and yeah, some parts of that would be very expensive because there are places where there's guardrails on both sides that drops off that they'd have to infill a lot of stuff. Yeah, that'd be an expensive project.
and I think you're right for the amount of use that it would get.
You know, it could open up other areas for use too, but just
Is there any way a study could be done to see how much traffic could be there with the other events out there?
I'm sure there would be. Jen Halverson was included in the question to get her feel for it as well. She didn't have a good gauge on that. We could ask the fair board if they have some numbers on that. So just quick dirty total was 2.18, so almost 2.2 million. Again, that's not our investment, but
Right.
that's a
But
lot
still,
of
that's
money
a
to
lot
go
of
towards.
money for 10 feet.
Yeah,
Oof.
I don't know. I don't know that it's a great use of the grant funds. And then, honestly, the additional maintenance that we take on in the future, that's gonna be an expense for us at some point as well, especially with retaining walls. So they wanted to get a feel from us as to whether that's something they want to include on the grant or not. And I didn't feel comfortable that's something that should come from you guys.
I don't think it's a good idea. That's my personal opinion.
That's
What do they
bike
need
only,
to know?
right? Bike only.
Bike pedestrian,
what do they need to know by?
October something is the deadline for the grant application. I don't recall off
I mean,
the
do we
top of
have-
my head.
Do we have time to get feedback from Jen and the fair board before we make a decision, or, I mean, it's still a lot of money, but maybe they got some
I mean, the
different
grant's
options.
not gonna be for 2.1 million, right? That's not what the grant's gonna be for.
Well, it'd be much more than that.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the grant is not going to cover it.
I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna end up dividing this up with all this. The whole region is throwing projects in and I have no idea what they'll do. There hasn't been a real clear answer from day one on how this is gonna work.
was their suggestion? I mean, it had to come from somewhere.
It came from OHM Advisors and Consultants. Trying to find, I know it's October sometime.
Can I ask a question? I have to go up there to ask it.
If you would, please, just so we have it on.
So, why would the community have no say in this? Why wouldn't we be able to find out how many would possibly use something like that? And if it is available, then why can't you at least see how much it's gonna cost and see what would happen? And I don't know. I always feel like you have to make a decision the night of a council meeting. And I don't know, and the community should we should have say in this. How many, at survey, how many people would use that? How many people can't, they used to walk down to the fair down there, can no longer get to the fair. And someday, if we ever get utility vehicles, I'm sure that'd be a great way to get to the fair. Just
I
saying.
mean,
But I think that the people should have say in it. These
Right,
are all
I-
representatives of the
I
community.
mean, first of all, that's what we're talking about. Talk to the park district, talk to the fair
And
board,
people, how many
and get
people would
there.
use that.
But we also have to see what the deadline
I
is
understand
to
that.
reply
But
back.
did you see my point?
I do.
I think people, it's always just, we're gonna talk to this person, that's, but the taxpayers and the people that live here, who would be the ones using it.
And
who
paying
can
for
find
it.
out, and paying for it. It's always Wham Bam Thank You, make the decision, and the community has no say in this, and that's what I'm asking. I mean, I'm sitting here, we have to make a decision tonight.
If the deadline would be before the next meeting, we'd have to do something.
Well,
Or-
I think what Andrew said, I think she makes a good point. I think the kicking it down the road and not making a decision today is a wise decision. I mean, I'm leaning towards no at this point, but, I'm open to feedback. I don't think there's anything wrong with getting feedback from
Oh, there isn't.
the community between now and the next meeting. If we're gonna wait 2 weeks, between now and the next meeting, if people want to respond with their feedback regarding this, I think that we should allow them to do that and know where they need to send those, their feedback to.
I'm sorry, it looks like November, it just says application opens in November of '23.
So we have time.
We do have some time.
Okay.
I just could see a lot of Amish people using their e-bikes on it
Yeah.
now.
So, well, how do you want me to proceed with trying to get input? Do you want just something on Facebook or just put out a poll of some sort? don't know
I think
how
we
to-
have our local media here, and, I remember when we were trying to get feedback regarding Airport Park, and we put the information out there as to how people in the village or outside of the village wanted us to deal with, ongoing changes down there at the park. And there were a lot of responses back regarding that. It reinforced the mindset that we need to, keep working down there on things. So if the media could provide an article and then direct any responses that people want to add to somebody, I don't know, Nate, if that's you, and then you direct those responses to us between now and the next meeting, is just my suggestion.
Wouldn't hurt to put something on Facebook either.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
That's what we did with the park.
Excuse me, Tom, I hate to say this, but can you either set up a poll like that? Bobby can't ever hear you.
Sorry.
Well, I'll put something out on our Facebook page, asking for feedback by the end of the month, or I guess the week before councils.
I think the
That'll
week
work.
before.
That'll give an
Yeah,
extra
gives
week there.
people more time.
Yeah. We'll see what we hear and go from there. Fair enough. All right, Tri-County Tree Service was in, completed the first round of tree removals. I've added a few more since then. Saw how budgets were working out and had room to do them, so we added those in. And then I'm also working on notifying property owners of the proposed tree planting locations for coming up next month. Kind of piggyback on the truck parade, I tried to use our one call account to put out a reminder about that for residents and users of that service. I was locked out of our account with the correct password and username and everything. Called customer support probably 5-6 times, finally got to talk to somebody. They got me back into the account, but it was expired for some reason. So he switched me over to somebody in accounting or whatever and lost them. Called again, went through this whole rigmarole again. Got back to her, left a message, and haven't heard a word. So pretty frustrated with it. And I told Matt, I was venting to him the other day about it, and that day in the mail I got a flyer for another service. I thought, it might be a sign, I need to check them out. So I'm gonna do a demo with them, see what they have to offer and go from there. Mason Radcliffe got his CDL permit, got him working on getting him signed up in Janadenhutton for a class for the entry-level driver training that's required now. Should have that completed by the end of the week here. And the class isn't until February of 2024, but that was the quickest we could get him into one. So there's a chance his probation, his 12-month probation is at the end of February of 24. I don't know that's something we'll have to discuss. If he's actively working on getting his CDL, I don't think he should be penalized with the probation status because of a lack of being able to get into a class that's now required. So hopefully we'll get through that and not have to deal with it, but if so, I may ask for some leniency there. Vasco was in today down at Airport Park and removed the old fencing around the sports court, and we'll get that reinstalled this week, as well as the divider fences between the courts. And then the Antique Festival is coming up, obviously, so requesting permission to close North and South Monroe Streets as we typically do. We've also got the dumpster on order for them and getting things lined up.
You need a motion, Dave.
We do, yes.
I'll make a motion to close North and South Monroe Street.
I'll second that.
Cohen,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Poland, Hofstadter,
Aye.
Hoffy,
Aye.
Vaughn.
Hi.
Nate, this tiny house 503 on Critchfield, that's old Critchfield, it's not Critchfield Extension, is it?
No, it's Critchfield Street, yeah.
What's that?
It's Critchfield Street, not
Okay.
Extension.
I'm gonna say those people would go crazy.
I've already got one phone call from the
Yeah,
letters we send out to notify them. Yep.
I have one question also. The trees, the tree planting locations, did the
Yes.
people know that they could decide what tree they wanted?
We put in the letter what's proposed, and
Okay.
they contact me,
Okay.
and we've done that in years past.
And they were all
We'll
good?
swap them around, and
Okay.
yep,
That's good.
yep. We do give them, at this point, we've gone back and forth in the board meetings about whether it's in the right of way, so we could technically say, no, you're getting this tree now. But so far, we've worked with people. If they're adamant they don't want a tree, we won't plant there that year, so. Believe it or not, we did have one ripped out and thrown away, so better to work with them than waste a tree.
Right.
So,
That's all, thank you.
Bobby?
Alrighty, so we had good news back from Huntington Insurance that let us know that our Alt Care Dental renewal came back with 0 increase. So
Oh my gosh, that's
I think
awesome.
I answered her back. Bravo, that's fantastic. So technically, we need you guys to say you know,
Yeah,
go for
yeah,
it.
we'll take it.
Can't imagine that you wouldn't. We're still waiting on the medical portion of things, so hopefully in the next couple weeks, we'll hear about the medical renewal.
That's wonderful.
No, that's it for me.
You need a motion for the alt care, or
Better, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the alt care coverage on the dental plan for the village.
I'll second that.
Okay, Khan.
Aye.
Hoffy.
Aye.
Poland. Hofstadter.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
And Vaughn.
Thank you. Karen, you have anything? I don't, thank you. Okay, well, third reading of ordinance 2023-104 by title only. An ordinance amending zoning map zone territory of the village of Millersburg. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Considering the fact that we don't have a plan that has off-street parking, I think that this should be tabled until we have said plan.
Okay,
Just because of the fact that if there is no off-street parking after everything is built, you know, nobody can come back here and say, well, where's the plan? And because we won't have a plan. We don't have a plan. It was just word of mouth.
okay.
I just think that we need an official plan of this is where the off-street parking will be, just so that everything is official and done correctly.
Do we have a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Discussion? We're gonna put a 2-week. If he doesn't have it by 2 week, then we're,
Then what?
I guess then that gets us our answer.
Okay. I would agree with that.
Basically have it by next council meeting.
Okay.
Because the only thing he indicated so far was that he was going to have a plan, but he hasn't submitted it. Is that correct? Okay. Okay. Sounds fair enough.
Okay, Hoffy.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Poland. Hofstadter.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
And Vaughn.
Aye.
Thank you. Any committee reports? Under old business, village citizens handbook. Any update on that, or?
I didn't put that on there. I don't know.
We talked about it at the last meeting, so we just said, can we table it till next
I
meeting?
did.
Oh.
But if we're not ready, then we don't have to talk about it, so.
It's okay.
Somebody said it.
Someone.
Someone. I think the handbook looks good.
Okay.
So if you need an approval to go forward on that, or,
Okay.
I have a couple of things I thought
There you go.
might be an addition.
Okay.
I think in the income tax, we need to add that we don't recognize other municipalities' income tax, because that's a big surprise for people who move into town and assume that because they pay to Worcester or to Orville or to somewhere else that they won't have to pay here.
Is reciprocity the right word I'm looking for here?
Yeah.
I'd put in that we don't have any standing reciprocity agreements. That would cover it.
Yeah. The other thing I wondered, and maybe this applies, maybe this doesn't, I don't know, but if a citizen would like to start a business in the downtown, maybe we have some signage rules, some bed tax information,
Mm.
Good
something
idea.
like that.
That's a good idea.
The other thing that I thought would be great is if we had some kind of interactive PDF form on our website to fill out, that they could fill it out and print it out or fill it out and submit it. That would be easier than paper. I don't know.
What-
I'm just
what
throwing
form?
out ideas, huh?
Which form, or what?
For signage.
Oh, we
or
do, they are.
Do we?
Yeah,
They're on there?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, good.
yeah, they're all
I didn't know that.
fillable PDF.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
The other idea I thought with the signage rules, maybe we could give them some recommendations of where other people in town have purchased their signs. So, somebody who's starting a business, where am I gonna get a sign? I don't know, and we just have a couple of,
I don't know how much of that I know.
okay,
I rarely see where they come from.
where they come from.
Yeah.
Okay. I just thought that those might be some additional if you have somebody that moves into town and wants to start a business, it'll give them some idea of where to start.
Vendor's license.
Yeah, things like
Cetera.
that.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you
Just a couple
suggesting that Nate make those changes and that we come back at the next meeting and then take a vote on it?
No,
I'm being sarcastic.
okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be difficult.
I sense that.
Well, and Nate, we're going to have kind of a guide for downtown business owners that is part of the design review stuff.
Right.
That will be on the website,
Right.
but maybe you could include a link
Just
to
link
that
it
as well.
directly over to
But that would,
right.
that would kind of go along with that.
Yep. Okay. Nice thing about this, it's not an ordinance or anything, so if we put it up there and need to change things, we just change it. It's not, we don't have to keep coming back for approvals and et cetera.
Any other old business?
I have one other thing for old business, the light post by Starlight Antiques.
Mhm.
Are we ever gonna get that?
Well, I'd been holding off on that because of this grant project to see if we're gonna replace all of them, I didn't wanna spend, they're
Spend money on
expensive.
that,
They're,
yeah.
I think the one we did behind the courthouse was like $9,000. Yeah, it's very pricey,
Yeah.
so I've been just sitting on that.
Waiting for
till-
that,
Yeah.
okay.
And
See if we
didn't you
get
have
somebody else
issues
to pay
too?
for
Hadn't
it.
the company gone out of business that?
Oh, yeah, that was a
Oh,
whole debacle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a mess. And then, yeah, doesn't matter.
New business.
I wanted to thank, I guess, you and Karen sending out the survey from OML about housing.
Oh, that got today.
Yeah, I like seeing that. In a second, I just want to give a lot of credit to the street department for fixing the storm sewers, storm drain, whatever, at Cary and Forlow. What a difference. Well, that one, you would lose a car if you went off anyway.
Yeah,
It's nice.
pass that along.
Well, and the water guys that we had a issue that,
Lakeview.
yeah, on Lakeview Edition, and
Yeah.
I wanna thank them for all their hard work down there. They got that done pretty quickly.
Yep. Let them know.
Any other business? Visitors? If there's nothing else to come before council, may I have a motion to go into executive session to confer the public body's attorney for the purpose of considering disputes, a court action concerning that dispute is either pending or imminent.
Second.
Lynn? Hofstadter?
Aye.
Shoemaker?
Aye.
Khan?
Aye.
Hoffy?
Aye.
And Vaughn.
Thank you, have a good evening.